that the sort of done thing to do? I mean, like obviously, obviously the contractor's supposed to say if you don't reach your minimum, the project doesn't go ahead, right?
Yep.
Well, you're saying people just go, well, we're going to spend the money anyway. Is that,
No. So some projects are viable because they have raised in the pre-sale enough funds. Anyway.
Right. Okay.
And if they are viable,
right,
then you don't need the refunds.
Right.
And if you don't need the refunds, it's a lot easier on the developers and the auditors.
Right.
Because of the risk.
We'll probably do that then.
Yes.
Yeah, minimise risk.
Minimise risk.
At all costs, I think, in this space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go, there's your answer.
Any questions so far about the DAO security?
Is there a way to make the auditing process robust in the pipelines somewhere, like to make it, that anyone can sort of follow a list of things and just make sure, like, look, at least this is the bare minimum I have to do?
So this document here is quite good.
That's what it is.
The consensus, best practices,
yeah.
Ethereum contract security techniques and tips. It will go through and tell you some of the obvious things. So if you are doing a transfer, then you deduct from an account before you add to the other account. So if I'm transferring some tokens to you, I deduct it from mine and then I add it to yours. If you do it the other way around, there's a very, very slight chance that it can be exploited later on. If the transaction gets stopped halfway, then it'll be adding to your account without deducting from mine. It generally won't happen. In the DAO, there was a send function that was, it was call.value that was exploited to stop that process. So it only did the transfers without deducting. But yeah, if you go through this, it has a lot of suggestions of what to look for. My main worry currently is the complex interaction. So because smart contracts are getting bigger and bigger, people will split them up into smaller smart contracts. And if you use one of the libraries, there's the Open Zeppelin libraries, they generalize a lot of the code. And to generalize it, they have got lots of bits that you fit together like big pieces of Lego. But to do that, you need to link them. And if you link them incorrectly, your funds can get stuck. So for myself to be comforted that the links are reasonable, I've got to go through and deploy the code and test it out. I don't have enough brain power to follow through the logic to see, because you got to follow on, through the different contracts, and sometimes you've got several different function calls, and each of them go through the security of another contract, so it's a bit hard to follow.
Yeah, I know there's a professor in UNSW. He's trying to do the like mathematical proof of a smart contract correctness. It's kind of a static analysis of the source code. I think it will be very, very hard to do that. Yeah,
just have no refunds and then it's a lot safer. Yes. And yeah, there's been a few token contracts that have had bugs and have been replaced. So it's not a big deal. It can be done. So Augur wrap, there was a bug in the compiler, and so they had to replace that a few months ago. I think it's just recently completed the migration. There was the parity multi-sig hack that happened, and DAO.Casino had their token contracts depositing their tokens into the hacked multi-sig wallet, and so we had to rebuild the token contract and move the amount in the hacked wallet into a new wallet. So it's not a big deal to fix up the token contract at the end of the crowd sale. Token card had a bug where they attributed 10 times as many tokens as was intended for their crowd sale. I think it was Singular TTV or something. So one of the tokens that you contributed there got 10 times the distribution, the intended distribution. So they rebuilt the token contract. So I'm not too worried about the token contracts being wrong. I just focus mainly on the ethers and follow where that goes. But there are some cross-blockchain crowd sales that happen. And so you get bitcoins, you get ethers, you get ether classics, you get different blockchain tokens, and then the crowd sale people will go through and compute what's the tokens that need to be distributed. So that's one style where you have separate calculation and reconciliation process. You just have to make sure you collect the funds securely. And so recently I've just audited, I am in the process of auditing one contract where they're just collecting the funds in one contract, and then they're using another external program to calculate the tokens. But otherwise, most of the crowd sales currently, you send ethers, you get your tokens immediately. And it saves a lot on reconciliation and checking and everything else. And it's a bit safer than the cross-blockchain ones. So with the cross-blockchain crowd sales, I've seen a few million get stolen from different techniques, sloppiness in different places. Cross-blockchain tokens, cross-blockchain crowd sales, you need to collect the funds, you need to record it somewhere. Your website and everything else is vulnerable. With the Ethereum smart contract crowd sales, if you can deliver that address, the 40-character address, securely to the participant, and the smart contract is safe, it's pretty secure then. You have a small surface area to audit, just the smart contract, and then you got to deliver the smart contract address to the participant. For these cross-blockchain ones, they'll have databases recording things and logins with amounts, with specialized addresses to know who the contributor was. And I've seen some of the hacks happen which haven't been publicized, and I shouldn't talk about it, but
Like the cameras.
yes. So
Not on camera anyway.
not on camera, yeah. So Ethereum provides
a...
sorry?
There's no jurisdiction up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Does the US own the moon? I don't know. I think they do.
It's a flag.
Yeah.
Should've brought a flag.
Flag out there. There's a Russian one over there though.
So it's pretty good. The system, the ecosystem has evolved since the DAO hack.
Yeah.
Investors